Good morning, everybody.
Hi, can you hear me?
Welcome to today's 1Mby1M Strategy Roundtable for Entrepreneurs. 1M1M, as you know, is the first global virtual accelerator in the world. Our mission is to help 1 million entrepreneurs reach $1 million in revenue and beyond, build $1 trillion in global GDP and 10 million jobs. And in support of that mission, we do a lot of work in the media. We do all this free roundtables. The 356th free roundtable today is one in a series of roundtables that have been going on, these free mentoring sessions that have been going on now for a lot of years. We started in 2008. We started tinkering with this model and then, got here through a series of experiments. So, it's been an incredibly interesting platform through which we have connected with entrepreneurs all around the world, and it's been absolutely fascinating. The event is being recorded, and if you're live tweeting the show today, please use hashtag 1M1M, and our Twitter handles are @1Mby1M and @Romana, and these are very rich channels to follow if you're looking for great entrepreneurship content. Our YouTube channel is 1M1M Roundtables, and there too you find incredibly deep, material. You find recordings of every single prior roundtable, and you also find other video content that are, learning materials. So again, could be a very interesting learning channel, learning platform for you. These are the call-in instructions. We will get to call in after the guest as well as the presenters, so it's going to be a little while before we turn the call-in line on. But in the meantime, do participate. Participate in public chat and then later participate by calling in if you like. This is a roundtable. We want you to participate as much as possible. And we want to hear from you what you're doing, what you're finding interesting, and where are your roadblocks. We'd like to hear from you. We're going to start today with a conversation with Rephael Sweary, president of WalkMe, founder and president of WalkMe. Rafi, welcome. It's great to have you here. Is Rafi's line on?
Sorry, I was mute. Hi, it's great to be here. Thank you, Sandra. How are you?
Good. Rafi, let's start by having you tell our audience about WalkMe, what you do, what is your business?
So WalkMe is a digital adoption platform, and what we do in WalkMe is we help companies maximize what they have from the digital assets. Digital assets could be website that they own, could be their mobile app, or could be software that they acquired and are using. A lot of the times the technology can do many things, but there is an adoption gap between what technology can do and how users use it, and we bridge this gap. Our platform is built from 3 layers. The first layer is an insights layer, which is a machine learning that you put and finds the adoption gaps that you have, gives you the understanding of where people are using, what they're not using, and what is a good usage, what is a bad usage. And based on that, you can build step-by-step guidance that helps contextually to a user to find, based on the gaps that we see in his usage, and helps each one. And the third layer is an engagement that identifies in real time that the user has a problem, that there is an adoption gap, and helps him as he's doing without him needing help.
So essentially, for a website or a mobile site, you're basically looking at user behavior, how users are flowing through that site navigation, where they're getting stuck, where they're dropping off, and then interpreting that to figure out where there might be problems with site navigation, and then you're creating walkthroughs to help users understand how to use the site or app.
Correct. Correct. The idea is not so much about simple navigation. The idea is really to bring a contextual navigation. I'll give you a quick example. Let's assume you're in an insurance site and you're filling up an application for a health insurance. So the form itself is pretty easy. You don't need navigation. It asks you the name, you put in the name. It asks your last name, you put your last name, your address, your age, etc. Everything is simple. But then there might be a question like, are you allergic to any drugs? Now, if your answer is no, the process will still be easy. Now, if the answer is yes, then it gets complicated. You need to get a lot of questions. And based on your answer to those questions, you would get more questions. And this is when it gets confusing, and this is where you need a contextual guidance that understands who you are, understands what is your issues. So our insights layer allows you to identify all those pitfalls, all the places and all the combinations that create confusion and adoption gaps. And then you take that and develop guidance to help those users, okay? Like with the step-by-step walkthroughs is one example. We have many, many other tools to fit. Sometimes we block part of the site, we highlight some of the site, etc. Now, the fact is that the person doesn't know what kind of walkthrough to work when he doesn't, when he has a problem. So what we want to do is in real time understand what is the specific problem of the user and start the guidance automatically for him, the relevant guidance automatically for him. In fact, in good implementations of WalkMe, the customer does not realize he's getting help. It's just simple for him. He doesn't really understand that somebody is explaining him or walking through. He thinks that this is the natural part of the user experience in the site. So the company today has 520 employees. We started the company in 2011. We have thousands of paying customers. Over 25% of the Fortune 500 are a customer of our company. We won many awards both for our technology, our company culture, and speed of growth. But the ones we're most proud of are our customers who get awards for implementing our technology.
So tell us, how did you get the company off the ground? Of course, you've covered a lot of ground in the last 6 years. How did you get it started? So
the start was simple. At the beginning, one of my co-founders, the idea was generated because one of our co-founders, his mom, used to call him and ask how to do something in her bank account. So in order to help her, he would jump out of bed, turn on his computer, log into the same bank. He was using the same bank as her, and would tell her, Mom, do you see the green button? Click on the green button. She would say, I don't see a green button. Mom, log out. Log back in. Do you see the green button? Yeah, I see the green button. Click on the green button. Okay, I clicked on it. Do you see where you need to put this and that? No, I don't see it. Mom, look on the right. And he would go through and help her via the phone, and get back to bed, and then a month later we would get the same call. So he said there must be a better way, and when he didn't find a better way, this is where he came up with the idea of WalkMe. So the initial idea was very simple. Let's create walkthroughs, step-by-step guidance to help users in situations like that. But as we started coming to the market, we understood that the issue is not really the guidance itself. The real issue is because if somebody is confused, is not going for help. He's either frustrated, or he's calling support, or he has a bad user experience. So we look for ways to identify real-time where the user has and engage automatically. So, when we started with something simple, it was simple to develop it. We started looking around. We found a few customers, and we took it from there. Initially, all we worried about was product and market fit. So, for example, when we launched our product, we didn't have a licensing engine. Because when we looked at what we have to do, we said, look, let's see first that people even want to use it before we do licensing. Let's not put efforts into there. We put all our efforts into creating a product that people want to use. And then step by step, we added everything else that was important and allow us to grow.
So in terms of go-to-market strategy, you started in one place and then you kind of pivoted to another segment. Can you kind of walk us through that process of where you started, why you chose to change segments, and how did you pivot to a different segment?
Sure. So when we started WalkMe, we were looking at simple websites, e-commerce websites, and we thought of helping people with very basic things. And we started selling like this. We were selling in hundreds of dollars a year. You know, it was monthly plans starting at $19 per month. And as soon as we launched our offering, we started getting very nice pickups. So we would do everything in online marketing, and people would come to our website and buy the product. So we knew we had a good product fit. However, we felt after one year and 1 quarter into the process that it's not growing in the way we thought. And it was a good business, but we didn't see that we can make it into the massive business that it could be. And we looked, and you know, a lot of the times our customers asked for more features, and we just couldn't handle it. We couldn't handle helping them doing those things because we were worried on the very, very low-hanging fruit. And so the fact that we saw that we're not growing and we're flatlining, we said we got to do a pivot. Let's go into customers that really understand the value. They're really big e-commerce sites. They're really advanced technology platforms. And when we did that, we needed to basically leave everything that we've built. And it was very hard. And we had a lot of conversations about it. How can we stop supporting all the small customers? How can we? But we felt we had no choice because we wanted to build a big business. And it's some of those things that in retrospect, you think, oh, it was a great decision, etc. The issue with making decisions in real time is that you don't have all the data. In hindsight, you know, a decision could be good or bad. But what I encourage people to do is to trust their gut on one hand, and on the other hand, test. So what we did initially was increase the minimum price to $300 per month. And we said, let's see what's going to happen, because worst comes to worst, we're not going to have new customers. And when we did that, prices and our customers starting rising up. Now, charging $300 a month allows us to give our customers better service, better onboarding, and working with them, they said, wow, this is really great. And we said, you know what? Tell us what you don't like, because that's what's going to make us better. And customers said, oh, could you do this? We said, yeah, great. And we added it, and we increased the price a little bit more. And they said, could you do this? And we added that. And slowly and gradually, we increased the pricing to a place where we can provide not just the software, but also everything that encapsulates in implementing a technology like ours. And I think that, we missed, in 2013, we missed our first Q goals. We missed the second Q goal. This is when we pivoted. Q3, we missed our goals. And then in Q4, boom. Since Q4 2013, we have overachieved every quarter to date. And so you know you're doing something right. So be bold, make decisions, create the difference, but keep measuring yourself and improving. So,
this price change obviously meant that you were catering to a different customer. What did you learn in the process of changing the pricing and moving up the food chain? What did you learn about the customers, and what was different about these customers versus the others, besides the fact that they were willing to pay more and you could provide more because they were willing to pay more? Were there different use cases? Were there different, ROI equations? What was different about the higher-end customer base?
So first of all, there was a lot of things that were important for our new customers that were not important to the small ones. Security is one example. Multi-language, multi-browser support. Different things that you don't consider them to be features, but you need to develop them and you got to invest in them. So for example, today in WalkMe, we have 7 people in our security team, but each of our R&D people are trained on security. We're investing so much in security. I think that we invest today, every month in security, more than what we invested building our product. So security becomes very important, stability, those are the types of things that become very important. Now, the ROI is very similar, but it has volume. So if you're helping a company that has 1,000 calls to support and you're reducing 30% of that, so you save 300 calls to support. But if you're now working with a customer who has 1 million, 30% means 300,000. His ROI is obviously much, much higher. Now, the work is the same work, the software is the same software. So this is where the impact is coming when it comes to ROI.
Yeah, that's fabulous. Rafi, switching gears a little bit, talk about your funding strategy. Where at the evolution of this company, with the evolution of this company, at what points have you raised money, with what metrics, and what was your thinking in those different inflection points?
So the beginning, you get any money that you can. It's not about the strategy. When you're building a new startup, no money, no mission. You got to get the money. It's not easy.
So I'm going to stop you there, Rafi. I'm going to stop you there and refute what you just said. We have case study after case study of companies built with no money at all, very, very strong bootstrap companies, including companies who have built $500 million in revenue with no outside financing. So what you just said is wrong as far as our philosophy is concerned. But continue with your journey.
I think that, what I was telling you is about us. Obviously, you can bootstrap a company. There is no one way of building a good company. I think that in our today and age, it's very simple, and you don't need financing to build a company. What you need financing for is to be really successful with the company. To build a company today, to build a
that is also not necessarily true.
I must disagree with you. I think it's not necessarily true. You sometimes are able to build it with no external financing, but I think it's companies that take very, very long time to scale. And I think that As we go further, it's going to be harder and harder to do.
Let's focus on, Rafi, let's focus on your journey. Don't make these broad statements, because those broad statements are, are not true based on the case studies we have one after another. So let's just focus on your journey, and your journey is a journey of a traditional venture-funded company, which is perfectly great, and your journey is great, which is why we have you here. So let's talk about your particular journey.
Yeah. So again, our particular journey was we first started and we had no strategy with who the investors should be, and it was all about getting the money in so we can get the company rolling, and started the company to be successful. As we started getting financing and starting to get traction, we started not already selling a vision, we were selling a business. And when you sell a business and you know how to communicate the value of a business in a way that financial people can understand, it brought many more options to the table when we were raising capital.
Absolutely.
And that allows us also to negotiate better and find more favorite terms. In the first round, we did not have a line of investors waiting to invest, and in the first rounds. In the last rounds, we could pick and choose among the different things, and this is where a strategy comes in. Okay? When you don't have a choice, you don't have a strategy. When you have a choice, you can employ a strategy and decide who you're going to choose for. Most entrepreneurs that I work with usually choose the investor who gives them the best valuation. I am strongly against that, and I think that you need to look at your investors, see that they are aligned with your vision, see that you like them as people, see the value add that they offer to you in order to build a fast-scaling company. And then this should be your main decision for thing. So everything else, so those are the times when you can employ a strategy. The one thing that I know that we shied away from is investments that give us a color. In other words, if you're getting like a corporate VC or a corporate investor, make sure that it doesn't burn you in the market. So if you need to sell to their competitor, it could be a problem. So there were a few offers around that we got, and we refused because we felt that having such an investor can infringe our ability to be successful with some of our customers and partners.
I want to comment on something you said about valuation, which is a very astute point and something the audience should pay attention to. You know, in the 2014-15 timeframe in particular and early 2016, we went through a period of gross overvaluations. You know, the valuations were very, very high, and there was this mania of getting unicorn valuations and so forth. Now, if you actually look under the hoods of those rounds of financing in various companies, there was a lot of kinky stuff. And in terms of valuations, liquidation preferences tend to make very kinky situations. What happens is, basically, you raise money at a very, very high valuation, but what the investors are doing is giving you like a 3x liquidation preference to get to that valuation, so that whatever be the exit price, before you get any money or previous investors get any money, these last round of investors would need to make 3x before anybody else makes any money. And oftentimes, that ends up being a terrible situation for all prior investors as well as the entrepreneurs themselves. So what Rafi is saying is incredibly important, not only from the quality of investor point of view, but also high valuation doesn't always end in the best outcomes for the entrepreneurs. And then the last point on valuation is that if you raise your valuation bar too high in let's say a Series B or a Series C or a Series D, in follow-on rounds or in exits, you're going to have to top that valuation. And if you don't have the later you get in the rounds, the more the valuation gets pegged to actual performance, fundamentals. And if you don't have the fundamentals and you have these very high valuations, you're going to start seeing down rounds. You're going to start getting lower valuations in later rounds, and that creates a tremendous amount of heartburn. So be careful about what Rafi said is his friends are, often taking the highest valuation term sheet. Don't take the highest valuation term sheet. You need to worry about the nuances and the details of who, of what are the terms, and what are the specifics of your business. Can you sustain that kind of valuation? So,
yes.
Rafi, could you just synthesize how much money have you raised, how many rounds, and at what point did the ROI that you just described, which is incredibly compelling, in which round of financing had that become visible to the investors?
So we had 5 rounds, and we raised over $90 million in all of them. And I didn't, first of all, regarding your comments with the liquidation preference, so you can be more right. And what we did in every round with the liquidation preference is we ran a simulator of what's happening in every situation. So really, there is a lot of things. And one more thing that I really caution is the due diligence process. Sometimes the higher valuations require a very long due diligence process, and the people involved is the leadership. And as leadership, we need to be worried as much as possible on building the business and not going through due diligence and rounds. If you want the highest valuations, you probably need to go and have processes with many multiples of VCs, so there is a lot of competition, and sometimes it's not the best way. So regarding your ROI question, I didn't understand what you mean.
What I meant is that this ROI that you described, that once you figured out that the ROI is much greater for these larger companies, and you were seeing really compelling ROIs when you were saving 30% of the calls, when there were hundreds of thousands of calls and so forth. So when did use cases showing this level of ROI become visible that you could show investors in fundraising?
Oh, so first of all, it became very evident very early on, the ROI. It was very clear. In fact, our first institutional investor came to us after one of his portfolio companies saw a drop of 50% in their incoming support requests. So this is how we got. Actually, that VC is called Mangrove, and there's a portfolio company called Planet Soho. And Planet Soho implemented our service what Planet Soho did was an operating system for small offices. So they had like bookkeeping and different marketing tools for small home offices. And they've implemented WalkMe, and they saw a drop of 50%. And they told it to their board, and their board, one of the people in their board was a partner in Mangrove VC. His name is Michael Jackson. So Michael asked to meet with us. We met with him, And like a week after, he invited us to Luxembourg. We presented in front of all of the members of the board. They saw the results, and this was our first institutional investment.
Fantastic.
So it was very evident early on.
This is something to learn from. You know, the evidence of ROI in a customer use case that you can show investors in very clear terms, very mathematical terms, is a very powerful validation and a very powerful way to convince investors that you are worth investing in. And in this case, Rafi, your story is fantastic because you had a portfolio company of the investor that came to you have that experience. So that really helps establish the trust and the confidence in the company.
Yeah.
So where to from here, Rafi? Where are you now? What's imminent? What are you thinking right now?
So the company is growing very significantly. We added over 100 people in a quarter. So it presents challenges. It's good challenges to have, but those are the challenges: how to onboard the new employee quickly, make sure that they understand the company culture and fit, and we remain eager and fast-acting and not bureaucratic. So maintain the startup feel, but being able to do it on a much larger scale. So we plan to continue growing at a very high rates as we are today. And I think the end point for us, not the end point for us, I'm sorry, the end point for our investors is to get their liquidation via public offering. And for us, we want to build a company that would change the way user experience is done. We think the way it's done today is broken, and we want to present a new standard for creating user experiences that are completely contextual and completely different to each user based on the device that he's using, the situation of the time, his knowledge, his experience, his history, his digital IQ, etc.
Fantastic. Rafi, you have a great company that you've built and will be building further. So good luck. It was great to have you here. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
All right, folks, we are going to go to the entrepreneur pitches next. Let me just set expectations a little bit. Remember, this is a safe working session. So you can talk about your strategy, your challenges, anything that you want to discuss, and we have no other agenda other than helping you deal with those challenges and those strategic nuances. And we are completely on your side. It is possible that you may disagree with the feedback that you get here either from me or from somebody else in the conference. Don't feel bad about it. It is your venture. You make decisions. You make strategic decisions based on, all the different issues that you're considering. Consider the feedback that you get here. Make a decision one way or the other based on what feels right to you. One thing, though, you have to remember is not all businesses can raise money, and raising money does not guarantee success. There are lots of companies. So, about 70,000 companies a year receive angel financing. And only about 1,200 companies a year receive venture capital. So there's a tremendous drop-off between people who have got angel financing, companies that have got angel financing, versus people who actually get Series A venture capital. So just because you raised a little bit of money doesn't mean that that is success. You have to execute on actual fundamentals. The story that you just heard from Rafi is that the value proposition for customers, the return on investment, the ROI for customers became evident very early on. And that is really what you're looking to do, is to establish your ROI, establish that customers want your product, customers want to pay for your product as quickly as possible, and then build on that basic validation and get customer after customer after customer to validate your value proposition. That is what builds strong companies, not dribs and drabs of little financing. You can do this, by the way, with no financing at all. We have case study after case study in the program where people have done it with no financing at all, and that's fine too, but really you have to understand entrepreneurship success equals customers, revenues, and profits. And that's what you need to execute against. Now, as far as this session is concerned, this is a roundtable. So as I said, we want you to participate, we want you to ask questions and get as engaged and involved in the rest of the program as possible. We're going to start with KR Naidu from Bangalore, sorry. Go ahead, KR.
Shamana, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you tell me what you like to go by? Is KR what you'd like to be called, or you have a longer name on the panel here?
Actually, my name is not just KR Naidu, it's K. Kandyala Rukmangada Naidu. I made it short to look like.
What do people call you?
Yeah.
What's your…
KR.
KR, okay. All right, well then we'll go with KR.
This is KR Naidu from Bangalore, India. So I've been a developer for the last 12 years and worked for a couple of product-based companies like Joho and Aruba Networks and then HP, and also worked for was an early employee for a couple of startups like Avenda Systems were acquired by Aruba Networks and then HP, and was part of Grey Locus, which is services-based venture, and it's going doing good now. And this is my another startup, so like Testsigma, as a test automation software on cloud using natural language to automate web, mobile applications, and web services. So also, we are trying to build an ecosystem to plan, design, develop, execute, analyze, and report automated tests, also manual tests in a single platform. So, please next slide. So, our vision is like, this is a little more aggressive, but this is what we wanted to achieve. So help functional teams by making test automation easier than ever, like introducing natural language means you can write scripts just like using simple English grammar. That's what we are trying to do. And help stakeholders like project managers and anybody above the development team, right, with more insights of each entity, like what's happening, how much time each entity is taking to automate and all those things, so that we can so that they can act faster than ever, and help by doing these things. We want to help business owners or the customers to achieve ROI in shorter than ever. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yeah. So we all know that these are the objectives of a test automation, like faster time to market, improve quality and the test coverage, reduce redundancy and reduce manual intervention, and reduce testing cost and time. So I just want to set the context before I go to the problem statement. That's why I have a couple of slides in between. Yeah, next slide, please. And to begin with, so for any test automation project, so we need an ecosystem. It's not just writing scripts. We need an ecosystem to see the success of a test automation. So to begin with, people generally start with the scripting tool. Like they will just start with identifying the scripting tool, and if it is a heterogeneous environment, like having multiple applications like web, mobile, and web services application, and microservices being the core architecture nowadays, like they will have the API testing as well, and they need to identify one more tool for API testing. So it's kind of multiple tools, programming languages, and libraries to they just need to shortlist before they proceed. And then they, if they want to test in multiple environments like desktop, mobile devices with different OS and browser combinations, we need a proper execution tool or execution mechanism to pick and choose these devices dynamically or faster. And then reporting tool. So there should be a way to slice and dice the information that are the test results, and to see what exactly they want to see. Like it should be we should be able to see at the high level and low level as well. Like the test manager should be able to see only the high-level results, like what is the progress and all. And the developer should be able to see the low-level details, like what is the error and all those things. So it should be possible that way. And with just a scripting tool, like having scripting tool is not just enough. So to reduce the resources and time and all those things, we need a proper framework in place. So, and again, like if it is a heterogeneous environment, as I said, like you need to have multiple frameworks working together, and having all these integrations in place is mandatory. And last but not the least, like test management tool. We need a test management tool at least to see the automation coverage. So otherwise, we'll end up having duplicate effort in manual testing. So, and as we all know that to achieve continuous testing, or to be more agile, we need to have a lot of integrations with CI tools and build all these tracking tools, bug tracking tools, and all those things. This is what we need an ecosystem. So, and if you see, like there are n number of fixed and variable costs involved in creating this ecosystem, and without creating this kind of ecosystem, there's no way to achieve goal. I mean, to achieve the goal of a test automation. So, yeah, next slide, please. Like I just. And the problem statement is like longer payback times. Like as I said, like it involves a lot of components, and we need to bring all these things together, and a lot of cost is involved here. And tools and developers, as we add more and more tools, we need to have more and more developers to manage these tools or write scripts in using these tools. And maintenance and upgrade, like as like having so much of code, right? We need to have a proper maintenance and upgrade team to keep managing these resources, like to continuously manage the scripts. If there is a small change in the application, so one has to go back to the script and do some kind of upgrade and maintenance to those scripts to work for newer versions. So, and execution efficiency, like let's say we have 50,000 test cases for an enterprise product, and if there is no proper if we don't have a proper distributed execution model, so we'll end up spending like almost half a day to execute. Even though it's automated, we'll spend almost a day to execute all those test cases, 50,000 test cases. So for that reason, we need to have a proper execution distributed channel, like wherein we can say we should be able to say, okay, this 1,000 distribute small set of test cases to different environments. And failure identification. We should not go back to the code level for every failure. So there should be easy way to, is analyze, and there should be some kind of artificial, intelligence, not artificial intelligence, so basic intelligence to at least do the first level filtering, and then we'll give the more, we'll expose the system for more debug and analysis. And design complexity, as we all know that the trend is like the shift left approach and microservices architecture. So UI will not be ready until like at least till the last phase. So means we'll spend a lot of manual effort doing all this kind of API testing till we reach the UI, actual UI implementation. So, and there should be a way to automate right from beginning of, at least for these kind of APIs, so that we'll be able to reuse or reduce some of these efforts in the later stage, and the release cycle will be shorter using this technique, this particular technique. And integration costs, like as I said, we need a lot of integrations. At least we need integration with the management to test management software, and at least continuous in like Jenkins or some kind of build tools, and bug reporting tools, and all those integrations are required. And we need to have a resource to integrate all those things. It's not just like each tool has their own API, but there should be someone to integrate all these things. So that's where we need a resource. And test automation, now the solution is like test automation is re-engineered. And next slide. And the solution is very simple. Use your own business lexicon to write automated tests, means natural language based grammar to write automated tests. And it's a single web platform to automate web applications, and you don't need multiple tools, multiple developers, and all those things. It's a simple and unified way of writing scripts for different platforms or different type of applications. And it's an ecosystem with the plan, design, develop, execute, and analysis modules in base. Means we don't need to go for any integrations, and we don't need any other tool as such to achieve the goal of this automation. And Testsigma, like with all these things, this is how it will look like. Now the Testsigma is being central. We have all these modules like a test lab, test development, and can you go back? Hello?
Let's go to market validation, KR. In terms of time, we are, we want to do a little bit of discussion about your business. So where are you in terms of market validation? Do you have a product or an MVP, or are you, where are you in the evolution? Yeah.
We have a product. We have launched a beta product last month, and we have got like 50 plus 60 plus registrations in last 5-6 days. To our website, and we just need to build on, go from here, and we need to build a case study. So what we are trying here is like we will go case to case. We'll take case to case, and we'll build a case studies from these leads, whatever we have got in last 1 week for our beta program. So
how are you getting the leads? How are people finding you?
Through basic SEO, and we did some basic SEO, and I ran a campaign, Google AdWords campaign for 2-3 days, and that's how we got a set of traffic.
Very good. Okay.
So this is the market size, like 50 billion by 2020 by NOSCOM and 84 billion by TMR, and the Gartner has said like 50% of the enterprises to implement continuous testing, means continuous testing can be achieved only through automation, like at least 90% automation. And so we have not validated the numbers in environments like browser stack, Fast Labs. So there are fewer platform providers like test environment providers. So that will be our next in our roadmap. So we'll have to build our own platform to execute these scripts. So business model is like we have 4 different models. Like we have base plan with the web application support and mobile. So Basic Plus will have web Basic Plus mobile automation, and Advanced will have web services testing and plus integrations with multiple tools. And Pro will have a test lab on cloud itself. So we can do everything on cloud with the Pro. So we can and extensions and plans. So competitive advantages, we are first to market by using natural language and with a ecosystem. So there are a couple of frameworks like BDD framework, Cucumber, and so on. Like they just give you a way to write automated scripts in English, but again we'll have to code for that. So we'll have to define our own language, and all those things are possible. But it's not just a tool. So we have an ecosystem, means we don't need all those things, external things to integrate it, and as we don't need any other tool or software to build the ecosystem to achieve continuous testing. And team collaboration.
Yeah, let's go to your question. What do you want to discuss?
Okay, so I just want to understand our go-to-market strategy. Like, is it right, or do you have any feedback and something like that? SEO social.
So what you described sounded excellent. The fact that you can get 50 leads through SEO and Google AdWords and so forth. And what I'm interested in is, are these the right leads? And you will find that out very soon as you work with these 50 leads, and you'll probably get some more through that process as well. And are they willing to pay the numbers that you just quoted, the business model numbers? What we learned from that, I think there are any number of different go-to-market strategy elements that you can implement. But first and foremost, based on what you are doing right now, I'd like to see if we are able to get the right customers, and are they willing to pay at the right levels, and validate what your value proposition is. So eventually there will be lots of other things that you're going to be doing in terms of go-to-market strategy. But for now, what you described sounds fine to me.
Okay. And is there any other way to reach SMBs other than SEO and AdWords? Is there any other platforms that we can go and reach the SMBs?
There are groups. There are social media groups where people hang out, right? You must know, because you have such deep domain knowledge in testing, you must know there are all sorts of test-related groups in different social media platforms, or even just internet groups. You should go hang out in those and talk about your product and talk about the problems that people face, and engage people around that, and that will also drive a lot of people to come check out what you're doing.
Okay. And one more thing, like what is the right time to invest on the paid marketing? So we are still a bootstrapping company and we have products and we have beta products at least, and we are planning for grand release. It is the end of this month after validating these leads. So what is the right time to invest on paid marketing like Google AdWords and?
So one thing I would like to know is that these leads that you've generated, what are those leads producing? What is the equation?
So they just started using Testsigma to automate their web applications. A couple of them already seeing the value in like it's just like 1 week now. So and a couple of them are I hopefully they will convert to customers. So but we have not touched all of them. So,
if you can get to a clear path where you understand what is the conversion process that it takes, let's say 30 days or 60 days of, trial usage before they convert, and what price point do they convert at, what is the lifetime value and so forth, then you can start triggering, levels. You have to go up, over time, but you can start investing some of that revenue back into Google AdWords campaigns. But I also feel that what I said earlier about social media groups and other user groups of various testing professionals, if you go hang out in those without paying anything, just by engaging with those communities, you will be able to generate a lot of leads. And once you start converting some of these leads and you start generating revenue, since you're a bootstrap company, investing some of that money into Google AdWords would be fine.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah?
That's all, Ramana.
All right, good.
So
great work. Yeah?
You have any feedback on the concept or the idea, that product that we are working on?
If the product works, I haven't looked at the product in sufficient detail. It conceptually sounds great, but whether it works or not is something that you're going to have to prove that it works, and you're going to have to prove to these early customers that it works and establish the ROI equation, what we talked about earlier with Rafi. The earlier you can establish use cases and ROI equations, the easier it is going to be to sell and build this company.
Yeah, okay, and I have subscribed for a premium account, so maybe I'll get in touch with you again.
Yeah, if you get into the premium, then we'll spend a lot more time together working out all of the details, and I think you have a very promising company here, so I would very much love to work with you.
Yeah, I'm a basic member now, so soon I'll convert. Maybe after this first month, I'll convert that to premium account.
Okay, terrific.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, KR. Virgil Olivier? You're welcome, KR.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Virgil. You're calling from France, company based in Montreal. Bonjour.
Exactly. Bonjour. Really happy to be with you.
Enchanté. Go ahead.
So
but don't do the presentation in French, because I don't think my French is good enough to follow you in French, and I don't think the rest of the room would be able to follow you in French either.
Yeah. But I try to put some French words that are really known from English people, don't worry.
All right, what is LiveScale?
So LiveScale is a social and VR live streaming SaaS technology. Basically, we transform any cloud infrastructure into a video streaming infrastructure. Next slide, please. So what we are seeing on the market is at the moment, when you are a content creator, where you have broadcast media, a television, a content producer, a group of artists, is that you are facing a lot of challenge when you want to do some live video. The first one is that you have too many user destinations to address, because now your users are sometimes on your website, but most of them are on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and so on. The second one is we see the rising of live VR coming up exactly in the next months, with the new cameras coming on the market, and you even start to have some 360 camera integrated into smartphones. But at last but not least, the process of creating a live streaming is a really long and painful workflow. Whether you are doing a live streaming from your smartphone, you can of course deliver it to Periscope or Facebook, but when you want to address different audiences at the same time, it starts to be complicated. So based on the technologies that we have developed, we basically allow users to create their own live streaming platform infrastructure within 2 minutes to hyper-distribute their content anywhere simultaneously. That means on all social media as well as their web and mobile platform.
Very interesting.
So next slide. The use case we've seen, we are really focusing on the VR at the moment, because in the live VR space, you have really few platforms existing at the moment. So we see use case in esports, in concerts, even in surgery, which you start to do some live VR really to showcase what's happening in the world. Because all the different use cases have the same problem. It requires a lot of internet bandwidth, a lot of hardware to do this kind of event. So we see customers such as Nokia, Twitter, or even PCMA, which is an organization in the US with all the event organizers, struggling to do some live streaming really easily. And when we say easily, it's really to do a live streaming the same way they are doing a Facebook Live or a webcast using WebEx, for example. Next slide, please. So based on this platform, for the moment, we have finished our bootstrap strategy. So we have created the first version of the platform that we are, in terms of go-to-market strategy, pursuing for the moment 3 strategies. So that's the topic I want to discuss with you. Is the first one, we are talking for direct channel monetization path. So basically, it's typical SEO, SEM network to the also partners of Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and others to say to those users that now they can easily do live streaming, and especially in VR through a platform. We are also exploring indirect channels, especially with the VR ecosystem, because for the VR ecosystem, we are really filling the gap between the production side on one side and the end user on the other. And at last but not least, because we're a small company, we are also looking at a reseller channel, so basically providing the technology and the platform into a white label or gray label form. So there, because they are assessing really the interesting customers, the customers that are ready to pay and already looking for solutions to do their live streaming, we believe that it's a good strategy also to go through reseller channel. Next slide. So in terms of customer validation, so as I was saying, we have finalized an MVP that we have released on May 24th. From the beginning, we have created the MVP with some beta testers. So back in last September, we have shown what we wanted to create to some of potential customers we have in both networks, me and my co-founders, to really see what is the traction for those kind of customers. So we do a beta testing period from January to May with all those different customers to see that our value proposition is coherent, it has traction, to see how we can achieve monetization on the next step. So now we are really on the step to getting paying customers, so getting MOU with some of the beta testers to continue development with them, but paying developments clearly. And also a partnership with ecosystems, such company in the 360 broadcast to really provide them the platform and to make them resellers through a referral system. And for the moment, in terms of revenue, we have made several projects and we have some events time to time, but we can say that we have currently a monthly revenue that is existing for the moment. So
one question. These 40 beta testers, what is the profile And what kinds of people are they? What do they do? What's their business?
Yeah, sure. You have basically three kind of profiles. The first one is really production companies that create content for third parties. For example, we have made a lot of broadcasts during the French presidential run campaign for the different candidates, where those production companies were using our platform to broadcast the live streams on different social networks. The second one is media group. So with companies such as Viacom or the National French Television or Radio Canada, giving some credits to make them testing the platform and basically have the feedback, because for us it was very valuable. And the last one, it was nearly prosumer or individuals that, for example, have 360 equipment or sometimes have heard about us during some trade shows or meetings, because we have a lot of traction based on word of mouth. So that wanted to test the platform. So basically we made a contract with them saying, okay, you can become a beta tester, but please, in exchange of using the platform, give us some feedback and some honest feedback on the platform.
Very good. I like it very much. What you're doing is very valuable.
So my three questions. The first one, so basically we have been bootstrapping. We have raised some block money through some debt to finance a few developers we need to hire to really continue the MVP. Our cash flow is basically without any revenues getting us to October. So my question is, what kind of investors we should talk to as continuing on bootstrapping start to be complicated, as both myself, my co-founders, and our engineers, they need salary. So we need a little bit of money to continue. The second question we have. Yeah, please.
Actually, the first question and the second question I will answer together. If you have in your 40 beta, situations, if you can find a couple of large companies that are willing to give you sizable service contracts, so that at least for the first few events or first, for a chunk of time, you run their, their programs. Basically, you kind of take their live shows and manage the whole thing such that they're broadcast across multiple social media platforms, and they pay you for that service. And if you can do that with, let's say, a handful of large customers who have budget, who can give you, let's say a couple of $100,000 for a chunk of programs, and if you can do that with 5 customers, that's your $1 million of seed investment, and it also creates a great set of customer intimacy situations. If you do that, and I'm not saying that my answer to your question 2 is that you want to be a services company. I haven't said that. What I'm saying is that as a first step, if you do this as a service with these customers, what would happen is you will get really close to these customers, you will understand their workflows, you will get to know them really well, and it will help you strengthen your product design. Eventually, quite likely that you will become a technology company or maybe a managed services company, but let's not make that decision right now. What I'm saying is, if you can get even all of these 40 customers, 40 beta testers in a service mode right now, for the next, let's say, year or 18 months, that takes care of 2 things. It really helps you build the product, develop customer intimacy, and get cash flow, and you will build a much more robust company in the long run with that, I think.
Okay.
So by the way, go ahead. What I was saying is that, bootstrapping using services is a methodology that we have developed very strongly within 1Mby1M. We have a book on this. We have full modules of training on this. So, we can, if you decide that you need help with any of that, just come back and use those resources. It's a technique of company building that is working very well, and very big companies have been built using this technique. Oracle was built using this technique, and many, many other very successful companies have been built with this technique. And in your case, it seems to me like the perfect strategy.
Okay, because what we see into the beta tester, for example, for one big, large media company, is that for them, there are still some missing features. We are talking about features that could be ready into 3 or 4 months, and the problem is how do you figure out with those customers to make them pay for a product that they might not use yet, but they might use in a not distant futures because of the missing features at the moment.
But if you take it as a service project, with the commitment that you are going to deliver, you have to figure out and stage the milestones, the payment milestones in a way that there is a upfront payment. Let's say it's the contract is, I don't know, I'm just taking an example, $100,000. They pay 20% of that contract upfront,
okay.
And then you have 3 other milestones, and they pay each milestone in such and such time frame. Then you basically manage the whole contract, and you execute the contract, you deliver the service, and you soup to nuts, you manage it, and in the process you develop the features. And you do that across 40 customers, you have a robust product that is full feature ready, and then you can start selling technology afterwards.
So a time and material approach.
Sorry, one more time?
A time and material approach.
I'm sorry, I'm not understanding what you're saying.
So sorry, I was talking about the time, basically a professional services contract.
To begin with, I'm not saying that long term you're going to be doing this, but to complete the features and to get really close to the customers and understand all the feature requests. There are going to be lots of feature requests. And you have to understand their workflows. What would it take for them to do this on their own? What would it take? And if you do it as a professional service for a while, you really get into the depths of what their needs are, but in the process also get paid.
Okay, great.
Yeah? All right, good luck. Very promising company. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you, Samana.
Evgeniya, you're welcome, Virgil. Evgeniya Slinko, you're up next. Go on.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Where are you calling from?
Okay. I'm calling from Belgium, but I'm Russian, actually, from origin.
All right.
But, okay, living here for a long time. So just a little bit of my background to get an idea. I have spent my childhood playing violin. I studied in the Russian equivalent of MIT. I studied quantum physics and mathematics. And then I spent 13 years in software, 10 as a developer and architect, and 7 in total as co-founder and product manager. And also now it's my 4th startup, which I found myself, which I created myself. So maybe we'll go to the next slide. I can change it myself? Yes, I can change it. Okay. So what I'm doing now might sound a bit contradictory, because I'm building a platform, a tech platform, which is actually aimed to move people away from the technology and to disconnect them from the gadgets, from those addictive social media, from notifications, etc. And we are doing it by moving them towards the healthy, evolving activities like music, art, sports, yoga, meditation, all these kind of things. What we do, we build a platform which is totally dedicated to the segments of very small and medium-sized businesses related to those kind of services. So you can imagine the private music teacher or sports center or creativity center, or kids as a kids place for kids activities in classes. It's going to be events and activities, private teachers, or performances, these kind of things. So it's all related to personal development. So it's a vertical market, which is important, and we combine all, let's say, conceptually all the services that our competitors provide, but in a very specific way, really clean UI, so it's an ad-free, totally against advertisement on the website, must be easy to understand and extremely efficient. And what's important that our structure and UI are adapted for our clients' mentality. So basically, we don't cover just any kind of events. We cover events and activities in our sector which have really specific needs, and those are the needs that we cover. Our business model is freemium, and it's based on the provider's payments, which must be affordable again for their wallet side, for their business sizes. We did testing, we did talk to a lot of people, so we studied their pricing model, their, let's say, revenue size, and we see what prices we can offer them. So let's go, this is about, okay, I followed the slides, the structure that was provided from Maureen. So this is the segmentation to explain what kind of services do we cover in our platform and the target audience. Mostly we see that almost every woman is our potential customer. There are a type of men with specific individuality, kind of hipster men, maybe, or people who like adventure of personal development, and a lot of people with, let's say, who already, I'm talking about succeeded in their lives, and who are now finally into their personal development. They can get again into yoga, mountains, or music. So this is those are, let's say, it's a partial result of the research that we made in the market. So we studied over 600 providers in Brussels in detail, because we were scraping their data to provide demo content on our website to see how the search works. And we also analyzed over 300 providers of activities in Silicon Valley to see the really different locations, because Silicon Valley is very techy. And we still see a lot of issues related to the web presence, to the calendar, which is one of the important key points. And we still see that there is a gap on the market where we can provide the services. We are now talking about, on this specific page, it's about the profile page. So it's not about all the services that we're going to provide, because it would be a really long presentation if I cover every aspect of it. But it's about the go-to-market strategy, how we're going to get the people to our platform. So if you can see, they can, most of the they get just the social network page, which is free, but it doesn't provide the really clean information. You get lost into the news feed, and you don't have the scheduling and none of this, and you're overwhelmed with banners. Then you have all the freemium and the CMS, the WordPress, Drupal, and you have a custom made, and it's all getting more and more expensive and actually not that efficient. What we provide, go to the next slide, it's a public profile. There are two parts of it, just displayed in different slides, which contains very easy to understand information. It can have the interaction with the users, with the follow, and really specific notifications targeted, and the calendar, which is one of the key points, which can be also embedded into the existing website. So it's not just if somebody has a website but wants to display really clearly the calendar of the activities, it can be done. And you have the filter on the calendar on the left, where especially if you're the big center with activities, you can see on this calendar, or you can use this filter to find what you need. And if during the day you have, for instance, 3 workshops, 2 classes, you don't display them like everybody does on the same cell of the day, all the titles, which is making the information really hard to perceive. They're grouped by the formats of the events, and then you mouse over and you can slide over the different classes with the details, and then of course you click into the details of the event. So this is the kind of interface that we tested with people. This is our customer validation, and they get really excited by having it. They actually wait for us to run, to go really live with this. But we need to polish all the details, obviously, because we have really now, let's say, demo scenario, but we need to go deep inside to fix all the usability and tiny bugs and prepare.
Evgeniya, I have a question here. You have talked to 627 providers in Brussels and 350 providers in San Francisco. Your business model is that these providers are the ones who are going to be paying you. The consumers are accessing it for free, correct?
Yes, totally right.
So have you discussed price points? What are people willing to pay, and
yes.
what do they want before they're willing to pay?
Well, actually, what we provide is quite a lot for free because it's, we want to build a trust and we want to actually to provide them a relief that nobody else is doing them. So this profile that you have seen, for instance, it's a totally free service. But then we will be putting a package of all the needs. It's going to be related to ticketing, to real website creation, and to analytics. And we actually analyze and we talk to people that the pricing of 5, 10, and 20 per month for the package of the services, like for instance, the medium, the most common that I would expect, is a $10 per month. Is you can have a website constructor that you can build within an hour with nice design and design templates. It can be a second-level domain. You will have a ticketing and attendance without payment gateway and some certain level of analytics. And the €20 is typically for quite bigger size of the business, so it's totally affordable. We match the size of the business with the price, and we talk to people how much are they willing to pay, and they're willing to pay for those kind of services. And especially if compare the market prices, if they have to get to the same result, it will cost them much more money and actually even an effort, and might be not always with the same output.
And so the kind of price points you're talking about, it needs to be a web self-service business. You don't have any margin to do any kind of hand-holding, any kind of high-touch customer service. Is your product able to handle a web self-service business?
Sorry, what do you mean by not able to handle? I didn't get your question, I'm sorry.
So the kinds of price points you're talking about, $10, $20 a month, this is not the kind of business you can build by actually getting on the phone with people and hand-holding them on how to implement the product and so forth. It has to be self-service.
It's a mass. Of course, it's a mass sales, and we have an approach to how to do it. Of course, we are not going to do the calling because we need hundreds of thousands of clients, paying clients, let's say in 10 years, to be really highly profitable. But the sale that let's say I call it sales, but it's for free. What we plan to push in September is it's a cost of €800 per month only. We can scrape, actually, we can find about 4,500 of contacts of organizers, and it's based on the practical data and on the cost of in our company, which is quite cheap. So those people will be receiving, each of them, an email, which of course I understand the risk of an email, but still it's better than the advertisement. So the email will contain a demo profile, one of the 50 that we will create manually, target profile that's really similar to his own business. So the music teacher will receive screenshots and the link to the profile of a music teacher, so that they will be identifying themselves with those profiles. And it's a free service, and there is a really gap on the market. They really need it. So we expect some, let's say, positive conversion, some quite good conversion on this. And then step by step we get involved.
My reservation about your business is we give everything for free. We give too much for free because freemium is a terrible conversion rate. Freemium as a business has absolutely dreadful conversion rates. So, and you want to do freemium, it takes a lot of money to build a freemium company. So, and all the things that you're talking about to make people get up to the next level and actually start paying, what is involved in getting them to pay. So my recommendation to you would be you have talked to 627 providers in Brussels, 350 providers in San Francisco. Turn them into live accounts. Set them up. Get them to use your product and start paying for your product. And let's say in 3 months, figure out how much of these 1,000-odd people are actually becoming paying customers, and what is the process involved in turning them into paying customers. I wouldn't go and tell everybody that everything is for free. I think you should set the expectation that this is for free. This is kind of a free trial, and here is how we are going to charge you. And the expectation is that you're going to be a paying customer, not some freeloader.
Well, actually, the point is maybe I was not clear about this, but we are not offering everything for free. There is a really first level, which is for free to engage people, but then there is a lot of things that we will provide for not for free, and it's already on our website. So to be honest with our customers, we put directly from the day one, now that we are not fully really live, I mean, we're just technically live, but we put the pricing so that they can know what is going to be offered for money, and we're not cheating on them. But we still can give them a lot for money, and those are highly demanded services.
Well, that's what I'm saying is take your 1,000-odd people that you have already collected and convert them into actual users and customers. And until you do that,
right,
you're basically guessing. You don't have data on what exactly is going on and what is involved in getting people to pay.
Yeah, right. But in order to convert them into the paying customers, we need to build those paid services.
Oh, you don't have anything built. You cannot build your service. What are you looking for?
No. I mean, we start build, but we cannot start building the paid services. We started building. We already started, and we will have much more by September. The free services, but we have to do gradually. We cannot just skip the free nice service, which I actually premium model is about bringing people with the free services to get them engaged with their platform. And after that, you can start providing them the paid services, and they cannot appear immediately. It takes time to build them.
Yeah. So I mean, see, the thing is, you're going to have to do that anyway. If it takes you 3 months to build, and then you start charging, okay, set these people up with their free, web presence, and then in September, October, convert them into paying customers. But there's nothing else to do right now other than this process. Building your product and turning these customers or these users into paying customers. There's absolutely nothing else in the agenda at the moment. What you have on this slide, challenges and questions, you want to raise awareness from danger of informationally polluted environment, none of this is important. You need to work with customers and turn them into paying customers. That's the only thing that matters right now.
Well, for me, this kind of things about awareness, it's a parallel task, actually, because we are not just a tech company. We are doing it together with the humanitarian part. And this is why I was asking that question.
So this is the target customer base doesn't give a shit about awareness about informationally polluted environment. If you're talking to a music teacher and you're trying to sell, convince them about informationally polluted environment, that music teacher could not care less about that topic.
Okay, I see your point.
Yeah, so focus on the customer. Focus absolutely, completely, and totally on the customer. And build what you need to build to satisfy that customer and get that customer to become a paying customer. And you'll learn a lot in that process in terms of go-to-market strategy. You will learn a lot about product requirements, everything. You will learn a lot about pricing, all of that. And then once you have that, then we can decide on what are we learning from that process and what is the next step. But you have to focus on customers. None of this extraneous stuff matters.
Well, we already do focus on customers. It's a parallel task, actually, but that doesn't take any.
Stay focused. Great.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Good luck.
Okay. Bye. Thank you.
Folks, we are going to spend a few minutes. I'll explain to you how to use 1M1M. If you're already using 1M1M, you already know how to use 1M1M. If you need a little bit of information, let me just point you to where to find that, and then we'll go to Q&A. So line up your questions. If you like, one request from us, if you like what we are doing here, please refer 1M1M to serious entrepreneurs. We would like to, work with customers, with entrepreneurs, actually for us, they're clients, but we'd like to work with entrepreneurs who understand what it takes to build a business. And it's a lot of work, it's a lot of time, it's, commitment for years into building something substantial. This is not an overnight thing at all. So in terms of resources, go to 1Mby1M.com. You'll find everything there. You'll find a free blog, which is absolutely chock full with interesting and valuable learning materials. The Entrepreneur Journeys book series is available on Amazon. There are 12 volumes. These are case study-based books. You can double-click down on a particular topic. Today we had extensive discussion in the context of Virgil's strategy on bootstrapping using services. There is a book on bootstrapping using services. You can learn from that. And also we have modules everywhere in the curriculum, in the premium program as well, and basic. So these roundtables happen every week. This is our 356th roundtable. Use them as much as you want. Use the recordings. These are also good, solid learning opportunities. We have the full acceleration program that is 1M1M Premium, which includes not only full methodology guidance through the curriculum, which is a video lectures and case study-based curriculum. We also have project-based coaching, which is similar roundtable format coaching, but members only, and you can access as many of those as you want. We help you with business development. Where we have contacts that you want to access, we will connect you to whomever you want to talk to in our network. And we help you with financing, all the way from diagnostic of are you in a fundable situation, what do you need to do to be in a fundable situation, is this business fundable, and then helping you build the collaterals and the pieces which makes you fundable, and then introducing you to investors who would be potentially interested in your project. So that's the whole life cycle of financing. And then we have a lot of clout in the media. We can get the word out about your business, and so we help you with media relations as well as, you know, just getting publicity out about what you're doing in the broader universe that you're trying to reach. Now, there is this 1M1M self-assessment on the website. It's a series of questions that typically investors ask entrepreneurs. We would like you to ask these questions of yourselves. And answering these questions will help you develop a serious and really well-formulated strategic plan. And you are the first investor in your company, so you should ask these questions of yourselves. Now, as you're doing that, if you run into methodology gaps, like there's something that you need to answer, but you don't really understand how to do that, go to 1M1M Basic. That's a curriculum-only option, $99 a month, and you will be able to learn about that piece of the methodology, and then you can apply that to your business. Anyway, dig around in the website. There's tons of material on what to expect from the premium program, the basic program, lots of FAQs, video FAQs, etc. Just figure out if this program is for you. It is not for everybody. It's a very largely self-learning program. You have to do a lot of self-learning using the curriculum and then use the roundtables to get your project-based coaching, mentoring, consulting, whatever you call it. But you do need to do your part in the learning process on your own. Now, the way we design the program, it's actually designed for people who have the psychology and the propensity for being good entrepreneurs. Good entrepreneurs are great self-learners. And if you're not a great self-learner, your chances of being a great entrepreneur are low. So, you know, our goal is to attract great entrepreneurs who are very comfortable with self-learning, whom we can then, really equip to become successful entrepreneurs. So that's the whole premise of the program. Now, case studies, we are completely a case study-based learning platform. So we have over 750 successful case studies of entrepreneurs. Everything is captured in gory details of how people have put one foot before the other. And there are over 50 unicorn case studies. There are about 400 venture-funded case studies, 300 plus bootstrap case studies. And you will find this body of work available to you so that you can basically stand on the shoulders of people who have done it before you. You had a little bit of an experience of that being with Rafi earlier in the session. And we have, people coming to these sessions all the time. We have recordings. We have full, long case studies on particular companies and how they've put one foot before the other. And that's how you basically learn from other people and become successful using their strategies and learning from their strategies. The methodology is lean, capital efficient, bootstrap startups. Even if you raise money, you're going to raise money on the basis of some level of validation. Even the story you were hearing about Rafi today. Rafi very early on was able to have a product, let's say a minimum viable product, but this minimum viable product applied to a particular customer situation was able to show ROI and value for the customer. And that validation is really, really important for investors to engage with you. Without that, just based on concept, you cannot raise financing. And that's just how the industry works today. That's pretty much it. We have 3 more roundtables in June. Go to the website and find the free public roundtable page and register to pitch or to attend, and we'll continue the conversation. We'll continue working with you. We are ready for Q&A. Even though we are past 9:30 a.m. Pacific, we'll stay and do a little bit of Q&A. Go ahead with your questions in public chat or dial in, whichever one you want to do. I have a question, private question from KR Naidu. He's asking, as a basic program member, will I be able to pitch my idea again in private roundtable conference to learn more on converting our beta customers and next steps in marketing? KR, you can pitch as many times as you like. If you're a premium member, you can pitch as many times as you like in the private roundtables. As a basic member, you do not have access to the private roundtables. You have to become a premium member before you have access to the private roundtables. And as a basic member, you cannot pitch more than once to the public roundtables either. These are the public roundtables. The private roundtables are for premium members only. Does that answer your question? Great. So folks, any questions that you might have after this session or in the long run about the program, just contact Irina Patterson. She will be happy to work with you, irina@1Mby1M.com. She'll help you answer any questions that you might have. Any other questions, folks? Anybody? Questions, comments, issues that you want to discuss? No? Sarvesh, what do I get with premium membership? Sarvesh, with premium membership, let's go back to the premium membership page here. I discussed that earlier. So you get extensive methodology guidance. You get access to our full online curriculum, which is a video lectures and case study-based curriculum. You get help with business development. You get help in private roundtables on your project strategy. That's whether you call it strategy consulting, project coaching, mentoring. It's basically, interactive coaching. That's in the private roundtables. You get help with financing. If you are fundable, we will help you diagnose where you are in the fundability cycle, what is required, is your business financeable or not, and then what do you require to get to that point, etc. So everything related to financing. And then if you're ready, when you're ready, we will introduce you to investors, and then we'll also help you with media relations and getting the word out about your business. Does that answer your question? Anybody else? Questions, comments? Yes, no? Irina is your contact person, by the way, for questions about the program, irina@1Mby1M.com. All right, well, let's meet back here next week, same place, same time, and let's continue working on your businesses. Register on the roundtable page if you would like a slot to pitch and specifically work on your business, and let's keep going. Bye, everybody. Thank you for being here today.